Today's episode of Variant is brought to you by Jack Threads.
Today on Variant, I'm going to give you all the major announcements and highlights you need to know from this past week at San Diego Comic-Con. So let's hit up some SDCC. You know? Phrase like that, it kind of sounds like I'm trying to get you high. LSD, SDCC. Noted. Welcome to Variant, where we love comics more than J.J. Abrams loves lens flares. I'm your host, Arris. So, for all of you who couldn't make it to Comic-Con this past week, don't fret. Good old Arris is here to get you up to speed with some of the biggest announcements to come out of the con, and there were some pretty awesome announcements at that. I spent a lot of time looking through the internet and all the info that came out of the event this weekend, so let's get the news flowing with some comic-related goodness. First bit of awesomeness comes from Marvel, who announced the titles for their Thor and Captain America sequels. The second Thor movie will be called Thor: The Dark World, and the second Captain America will be called Captain America: Winter Soldier. I actually think both titles are pretty cool, way better than just putting a 2 at the end of the title. They also showed test reel footage for Ant-Man, which apparently was pretty well received and played with a lot of humor. I'm just excited for when it leaks online. They also showed concept art for one of Marvel Studios' upcoming films, Guardians of the Galaxy, who are basically freedom fighters made up of diverse members from the Marvel Universe. I'm curious to see how they handle it and how it will intertwine with the Marvel Universe they already built. DC Comics released some awesome new artwork for their upcoming Before Watchmen issues, and might I say the art looks fantastic, especially the Rorschach and Night Owl stuff. I'm really liking what they're doing with the series as a whole. Then at the Batman panel, everyone who attended got a free Court of Owls mask, which is probably one of the coolest things I've seen. I mean, just look at that. Scott Snyder actually tweeted a picture of it saying it was the highlight of his career, and I could see why. And man, do I really want to get one of those masks. It was such a good story arc. They also finally showed footage from the Man of Steel from director Zack Snyder. Now, I've been wanting to see something from this movie ever since they announced it, and we're all finally gonna get our chance because they're gonna put the teaser trailer in front of The Dark Knight Rises in theaters this Friday. And I couldn't be more excited. I get to see the Man of Steel teaser and watch The Dark Knight Rises in one sitting. That's about as magical as a unicorn running on a rainbow farting Skittles. Marvel also unveiled Iron Man's new armor for Iron Man 3. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I mean, it's kinda cool, but I wish it was all gold like Iron Man and his Tale Suspense days. Either way, I'm sure we're working the movie. Oh yeah, and you know Deadpool? Well, he's getting his own video game, which looks hilarious, and BA just like Deadpool's supposed to be. I'm getting high hopes for this game because I love Deadpool, so if it's anything like it looks, I am all in. Jeff Johns also announced that Justice League issue 0 will be the issue where Billy Batson becomes Shazam, which I'm super excited for. Shazam is one of my favorite DC characters. Jeff Johns also said that Shazam will be joining the Justice League team next year. I cannot wait for that. DC also announced we will finally be getting a Volume 2 to Superman Earth 1, which was a huge success. Batman Earth 1 will also be getting a Volume 2. It's only been out for a couple weeks, but the response has been so great they decided to go ahead with it. Jeff Johns confirmed that it will deal with Bruce becoming a detective and that the primary antagonist will be the Riddler. All I have to say is keep them coming, Jeff Johns. Keep them coming. Something that I've been wanting for a long time now might just happen, and that is a Hellboy 3. Guillermo del Toro was quoted saying, "We're gonna make an effort to do it. I hope it happens." Now, it's not set in stone we're gonna get a Hellboy 3, but I would say it's likely if del Toro is pushing the studios to make it happen. It's a great comic and a great movie franchise, so let's make this a trilogy. Fingers crossed. Mortal Kombat Legacy, the online web series, announced they will be doing a second season along with telling us some characters we will be seeing this time around. Characters include Ermac, Kenshi, Mileena, and Quan Chi, just to name a few. I'm glad we're seeing newer characters from the Mortal Kombat universe this time around, so hurry up and make an episode with Noob. I love that character. Speaking of video game franchises, DC Comics unveiled 2 new characters for their new fighting game, Injustice: Gods Among Us. And they are Knight to the effing Wing. That's right, Dick Grayson is in this game. Super excited for that. And Cyborg. I wasn't a Cyborg fan until reading the Justice League New 52, which has made me like him a lot more. Anyway, this game looks sick and I will be playing it till my thumbs look like this. Ah, dang it. Never mind. Statement redacted. Completely take it back. It was also announced that Booster Gold is on track to getting his own TV show. And let me just say now, I love Booster Gold and the whole concept of the character. Guy from the future, armed with future tech, who travels to the past to become a hero and become famous. But if it's anything like how Booster Gold was on Smallville, then not only do I want the show to get canned, but I want an apology from everyone involved because it's just rude and inconsiderate. We also got the plot for Marvel Studios' latest one-shot, Item 47, which will be released in the special features section of the Avengers Blu-ray. Item 47 refers to one of the alien weapons left on Earth. What happens is a couple Deadpool finds the weapon and then uses it to go on a bank robbing spree, which sounds pretty hilarious as all the Marvel Studios one-shots are. Marvel Studios also said it will be 11 minutes long, meaning it's going to be their longest one-shot to date. The Goon movie was brought up again 2 years ago at San Diego Comic-Con. They showed test footage for this, but the movie lost its funding and has been stagnant ever since. So the creator, Eric Powell, tweeted artwork of the Goon saying, "Let's kickstart this film," meaning they might use crowdfunding to get this film made. This could be a joke or it could be true, only time will tell, but I do know one thing, I want this film made already. Something that should come to no surprise to anyone is we're getting a new Judge Dredd comic, which makes sense because he's coming out with a new movie pretty soon. Nonetheless, I'm super excited and I loved reading Judge Dredd comics when I was younger. Supposedly it's going to have a sci-fi black comedy police feel to it, which sounds good to me. I'm just glad he's getting a new comic. But that's what tingled my jingles the most from Comic-Con. If you want to know more about any of these stories, check the description below for links. Only suckers pay full price. If you love alternative apparel brands like Kid Robot and Hurley, but hate wasting your cash on them, listen up. You can score these premium brands at up to 80% off every day. There's a new invite-only shopping club just for guys called Jack Threads, serving up street, skate, and surfwear brands at prices that will melt your brain. There's a wait list to join, but if you head to jackthreads.com/variant, you can get instant access to all these killer hookups. So go now. First on my buy list for Wednesday the 18th, we have BPRD Hell on Earth Russia Issue 3. It's about a graveyard of mutated horror that is undercover deep inside a Russian mine. It is written by Hellboy creator Mike Mignola. Here we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Issue 12. The art in this title has been superb, and the Ninja Turtles wrap up their first fight with the Foot Clan. Now we have Road Rage hardcover. Stephen King and his son Joe Hill, who's best known for the amazing Lock and Key series, tag team this one. It's based on Richard Matheson's classic tale, should be a good old read. And here we have Skull Kickers Issue 16. The comic is about two hard-headed mercenaries who kill monsters in their search for money and fame and adventure. Along the way, they'll fight goblins, smash skeletons, punch plant people, and kick werewolves. If none of that sounds interesting to you, you're crazy. Next up is Saga Issue 5. This is written by the writer of Y the Last Man, Brian K. Vaughan, and it's his return to comics. The series is a sci-fi fantasy epic with Star Wars action mixed with a touch of Game of Thrones. It's definitely a must-read. Here we have Green Lantern Issue 11. In this issue, the revenge of the Black Hand starts, and the arc promises to be one of the most shocking conclusions to any of Jeff Johns' Green Lantern runs. Now we have Justice League Issue 11. Jeff Johns is writing it, and Jim Lee is drawing it. That's all I should have to say. Here we have Silk Spectra Issue 2. The first issue was really good, and I'm sure this one will be too. Finally, we have the Amazing Spider-Man Issue 690. There might be more than one lizard now, and I think that's all I need to say for you to be interested. Well, that wraps up today on Variant. Those were just some of the biggest announcements from San Diego Comic-Con. I know there were a lot more announcements and cool stuff that happened, but there were so many I couldn't name them all. I know Hot Toys and Sideshow Collectibles had some really cool figures out, as well as Matty Collector and Hasbro, so go search the interwebs for that. And tell me what you think were some of the coolest things to come out of the con this year in our comment section below or on our Variant Facebook page. You can also tweet to me at twitter.com/Arris_Quinones. I'm more than happy to chat with you guys. But I will see you next week when I review The Dark Knight Rises and possibly give you my thoughts on the Man of Steel trailer. Ooh. Scott Snyder. Did I say awesome twice?